Meditations with Frank Jordan and the Earth Mind Think Tank Group. We take requests for healings in the second hour. If you simply wish to make a healing request, please type into the chat room on wolfspiritradio.com with the name of the person, the location, and the condition that the person needs healing. You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio.
Let's let Joan give her introduction too.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Saturday, November 1st. Universal Mind Radio, in conjunction with Wolf Spirit Radio, would like to present to you 1 hour of Earth Mind Meditation by Frank Jordan. Frank is accompanied this morning by the Earth Mind Healers group that has been working with him for several years. The focus of intent on today's show is to use Frank's subtle energy techniques to release and ease the stress of Mother Earth from land, sea, climate, and man-made changes around the world. Frank Jordan is from Boise, Idaho, and has been an empathic intuitive for many years. Frank is also in direct contact with galactic beings who are guiding Earth's transition into the fourth and fifth dimensions. Stephen is a separate higher consciousness of Frank that helps share information into the fifth world of domination. They focus frequencies of unconditional love into the world group mind that helps people do the necessary subtle energy clearing and DNA assemblage for ascension into dominion. Frank is also an active water, mineral, and missing persons dowser and healer. During his radio show on Sunday night, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, Frank teaches the universal laws of physics, which is metaphysics. A discussion is held by Frank where Stephen talks about subjects of interest to members of the audience. During the second hour, Stephen tunes directly into the listening audience where healing requests are made, guides the healings, and often gives insightful information about their situation. For further information on Frank, please visit his website at Psytronics.com. That's www.psi-tronics.com. Psytronics.com. You are also invited to set up a one-on-one appointment with Frank by calling 208-344-9188. That's 208-344-9188. His email address is fljordan@cableone.net. Through his website, Frank also has several novels listed, dowsing tools as well as subtle energy lights, and the much sought-after Clearing the Way instruction book. Donations are always appreciated and can be made through the website of Wolf Spirit Radio, Psytronics, and Universal Mind Radio. Now, please enjoy our show.
Good morning, everyone. And I'd like to welcome back the World Healing Group again. And this group has been with us for about almost 3 years now. And it's been amazing to watch the steady progression of growth within each one who participates in our meditation, because we have a constant download of energy coming from the galactic center, and occasionally we can hear the tones in the background, and we'll step back and ask, and they'll open up and give us a strong flow of energy. And this energy, these tones, work internally within us to stimulate our DNA and to do healing work, and it'll just raise our overall frequency into the fourth dimension. And it's difficult to hold your point of attention in this third dimensional reality, and because there are so many distracting things, negative things out there that pull you down, that corral you into thinking that you are nothing and can be nothing more. But we understand now that is just a transition stage we're going through in the third dimension. It's been a 26,000 year of progression of learning, and in our reincarnations through our various lifetimes and lifestyles, we've come to a point where it's time for self-realization. The realization that we are God-force beings, that we do have incredible power and abilities, and those abilities are ours by divine right. They are inherent within the DNA that the Anunnaki passed on to us. What is not obvious is the fact that the Anunnaki that destructed 10 of our strands of DNA that we had as natural evolving beings, humans, and left us with 2. But look what we've done with 2. And the point we are now of transition into the fourth dimension, which is a dimension of time-space, which allows us to use these new developing abilities. And it's a matter of remembering who we are and what we are, and recognizing what our potentials are. Because as we reach for a new gift or a new ability or to get new insight into how our systems work, the DNA is stimulated in response to that. Because the DNA responds to need and evolution, the need in evolutionary growth. And those strands are still there. They're just scattered. The geneticists call it junk DNA, but it's not junk at all. And with the right focus and intent and meditation and always staying positive and up and just naturally looking forward and expressing what we can be, living in the life, the DNA responds, reassembles, and we have more gifts and abilities. So that's where we're moving to personally. And always in this show, we look out at the world and at whatever might be out of sorts in the world at this time. And looking at the weather patterns this morning, that deep trough we've been working with for a couple of weeks that was out in the Pacific, that we were encouraging to move in without breaking up and becoming a cutoff low. That is now delivering moisture to Southern California as well as the Northwest. So we want to focus our intent this morning, and we do that simply by taking our awareness up to our forehead, stepping back into the soul center, back into the psychic center, back into the subconscious mind, and then back again into the subtle energetic fields that is the consciousness of Earth, of the Devic forces that hold the consciousness in form. Just step way back and just feel yourself expand in a deep, dark, empty space, but that space holds everything because it holds consciousness. That's what consciousness is. That's where every thought rises from. And thought is the creative force that manifests form. So back in that state now, just let yourself step way back and relax, expand your awareness down through actually behind the spine, down into earth mind, and up through oversoul to the positive polarity in the first dimensional reality, knowing that that's the polarities that hold the form, the male and female positive negative polarity that operates through the 0 point in our hearts to manifest all form. That 0 point being the spirit center that experiences, desires to empower and enjoy life in all its forms. Now take our attention back out into the Pacific again, into the weather patterns. And just like we were standing out in space 500 miles, we look down and see that incredible deep trough of moisture that we requested some time ago. And we see it slowly rotating around, following the jet stream. And the eastern edge of it's moved inland now, and it's delivering moisture. But we see the middle and back side of it generating even more moisture and dipping down as far south as it is. It picks up a lot of heat, a lot of moisture, and that's what we want to bring inland to break the drought in the southwest, and to come on inland to put snow in the mountains. And we visualize that even as we're resonating with the Devic forces of consciousness that hold the form of that reality in all of Earth reality. And we have a lot of help in this, because this has also been the request of the unified field of all the living organisms that have DNA that we united some weeks ago to help pull this moisture-producing field of consciousness in. And so tuning into that group mind conscious of all living species in the Southwest, we feel gratitude, loving, expressed gratitude. Life is coming back. All life is dependent on moisture. The more gratitude we can express, the more the Devic forces can respond, because it's actually giving the energy to the Devic forces for them to work with. They're a subjective consciousness. They simply hold the form until directed by a higher consciousness. And the body signal for when we know this is happening, that we're getting it right, is joy. Joy in the heart center, which is actually the spirit itself expressing joy that we humans are finally getting the message that it has been trying to convey to us for the last 26,000 years. That message is the movement out of domination and into dominion. Dominion being that state of consciousness where we humans, as intentional God force beings, as intelligent beings, we're responsibility. We acknowledge and accept the responsibility of being the caretakers of Earth and of all living species, so that Earth can continue its evolutionary growth and process. And eventually we will grow and evolve to the point where there will be no domination on Earth. Everything will empower everything else in a natural cycle of life, as Earth did for millions of years prior to the advent of this group of humans. So we're nurturing, just extend yourself out over Earth now in the unified field of all human consciousness, feeling dominion, responsibility, love for Earth, love for all creatures of the Earth. And to assist us in this, we pull in the photon energy through our foreheads. This new belt that we've entered into, where the potential of higher frequencies, more powerful energy can be used by us to do beneficial things. We also direct through our hands the flow from the galactic center, which gives energy through the left hand to the past, the standing waves of everything that has occurred in the past, and everything is stored in the Akashic records in Earth Mind. And the right hand giving energy to the future that is being created in the 0 point as we focus our consciousness and our desire and will and the instinctive, intuitive consciousness of all living things to sustain life, to empower life. And we resonate that into the future as we see life as we see Earth returning to the paradise that it was, even though there are many, many species that function and survive by consuming other species, even as animals consume grass. It's all a cycle of the life force of the God force consciousness. Everything empowering, sustaining everything else in dominion. And so it is. Now we bring our attention to the human consciousness, the morphogenic field of all living humans on Earth. And this is a very turbulent time for humans. It's creating great stress, the transition between the ages of the third dimension and into the fourth dimension, as predicted by the Mayans and other ancients who were wise enough to see the progression of man and where we were going. And let us all do that now. Let's unify our fields of consciousness and look forward beyond the 0 point into the future and manifest in the future standing waves of unconditional love. Generate that energy through your hands, feel your hands get hot, and visualize a globe of the earth itself, as though you were God holding earth between your hands. This energy that's passing, that you feel in your hands, moving back and forth, that is the power, the life force that sustains all living things on earth. And we direct into that the galactic energy of unconditional love that holds all the frequencies and vibrations of life. And we direct into it the photon energy that is raising all frequencies of life to higher excitement and potential. And particularly within that, in the globe between our hands, we touch into the universal consciousness of all humans in the galaxy. All humans now sending its love, send its direction through the galactic flow. We direct their energy and attention into all humans on Earth, empowering their hearts with unconditional love into their heart centers to create in their own individual reality the ongoing nurturing aspects of dominion. We release fear from humanity, fear of social collapse, of financial collapse, because it is all an engineered, phony thing. Nature on its own would be doing very well. All of our social experiences and cultures would be doing very well if it had not been for the greedy, the dominant, who ultimately wanted to control all living things on Earth. So we turn our attention to them now, to the Illuminati, and we release them. We give them permission to release their forces of power to the financial world. We give them permission to make right choice. The right choice being to redistribute wealth around the world, to harmonize and make abundance for everyone, in which case they also will do well. Now, holding the form of this new world reality, we extend ourselves into Earth mind and into the standing waves of the past, all the way back through the 26,000 years. And at the beginning of this age, this past age, we turn and look forward to the way Earth can be, and we bring a resonance through those 26,000 years, neutralizing the need, neutralizing domination. So in this moment of now, as we come forward, domination simply does not exist. And we resonate that on into the future, understanding that, there will be people who need to experience domination, but they'll rapidly recognize or be shown by others their wrong choice and corrected to where all humans empower all other humans. This is the basic tenets of the Bible, which literally, when you refine down all those teachings, simply means one thing: do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. And with that, we can release the Bible and the religions, acknowledging all religions as being the caretakers of the domination force, the epitome of the domination force, even though they were supposedly working in dominion. So we release them of their responsibilities, the need to hold the form of the old religions, the old dominator consciousness, the separation from God, and with the acknowledgement that we are the God force expressing, creating our new reality, creating the fourth dimension. And that's why we express forward in the standing waves, dominion, and visualize now as you see the world around yourself. Look into the future and in your own way create dominion as you would be treated. And fill it with unconditional love. And your heart swells almost to the bursting point with joy. Now let it burst and send that joy around the world as a wave of pure intent that is being acknowledged and is fruitful. And so it is. Now we take our awareness to our second responsibility, which is being the caretakers for Earth itself. And we go to the earthquake grid, the ring of fire around the Pacific Ocean, and the belt of the earthquake grid that runs around the center of the Earth. And we literally become one with the Devic forces of consciousness by tuning in to that grid in Southern California. Just think of the San Andreas fault line that creates the Bay of Baja and runs all the way up through California to the border. And feel all the extended fault lines that are created by the lateral thrust plate that we're speaking of there, and the subduction plate deeper inland that fragment of the Earth's surface that is creating the Sierra Nevada mountains. But now we tune awareness into Southern California. Feel the stress in your root chakra. That's your communication center with the lower state of consciousness of Earth mind and of the Devic forces. Feel the stress of the building, growing earthquakes. And lift that stress up your spine and release it. It's just energy, potential energy. So release it into the ionosphere. Okay, take it up your spine, out through the crown chakra, out through oversoul, into the ionosphere, into the golden grid. And see that energy spread around the Earth as a protective field against solar flares or any orbital asteroids or anything negative. Now continue northward to San Diego. Lift that energy upward and on up to San Francisco. Today our intent is to gather enough energy that we can repulse the dead star that is approaching with Nibiru. Now up San Francisco to the border with Oregon. We'll move our point of attention eastward to the Sierra Nevada mountains and that thrust zone that runs all the way down to Southern California. Lift that energy upward, distributed around the Earth. I'm going to add something else into this too. As we do this today, from the galactic flow, feel your hands get hot. Add unconditional love energy into the golden grid so it becomes a resonance of joy and love surrounding Earth that will affect every living being on Earth. Now take your awareness northward to the Pacific Northwest, which is very mild activity at this time. It has had some activity, but it's very mild now. Up the Cascade Mountains in the subduction zone of the San Juan de Fuca Plate, thrusting the Cascades upward. Open the ancient volcanoes and release that energy as we transmute it into love energy around the Earth. And it's just like loving Earth, loving your home, loving the female polarity of Mother Earth that has nurtured you in this life and others, and will nurture you in the future. But just like you'd care for your mother, we have to care for Mother Earth. Now take your awareness eastward to the Rocky Mountains that run all the way from Las Vegas through Utah, Montana, Wyoming. Lift that energy upward, putting particular focus on the Yellowstone. The ongoing activity of the caldera there. It's a tremendous amount of energy that we can utilize. Pull that stress energy from deep down in the earth so it'll subside. It doesn't need to express itself as molten lava or down into the magma. Lift that energy upward. Distribute it around the earth. Now take your awareness northward to the Canadian line, releasing minor earthquake movements there. Then come back to the coast. Follow up the coast of Canada to Alaska. And there's a great amplification of minor to low mid-range activity there today, up to as much as 3 points. So we lift that energy upward, preemptively releasing it so it doesn't become earthquakes in that region. Now we move southwest around the Aleutian Trench and the string of islands and volcanoes in that region. Lift those energies upward all the way to Russia, then south along the Kamchatka Trench, which is the Northwest Pacific Basin Trench. It's subducting under Japan. There is activity 5-0 around Mayako in the region of the nuclear plants. So we take that energy it's building, create a cyclone of energy spiraling upward clockwise into the ionosphere and carry with it the radioactivity from all the nuclear plants in that region. All the way south to Tokyo. Now southward through Taiwan and into the Philippines. The Philippines are mild today, as is the Indonesia crescent, the Java Trench crescent, much reduced activity. But we know the earth moves anyway, so the stress will be building. So we continue to release that, clearing the stress through the volcanoes, through the thrust fault regions, on eastward to New Guinea, and the string of oceanic islands that follow that fault line all the way through to Fiji. Samoa is the largest one on the map today. There's a 6.1 in Haifo, Tonga. Now we move southward through the Kamdek Trench to New Zealand. Some activity off the coast to the north. Adjustments occurring. Take time to take your awareness through the North Island first, where I don't feel anything building exceptional. But in the South Island, I do. Go into the South Island. Lift that energy upward. This is interesting because it's not only do I feel it at the base of my brain in the primitive warning area, but I feel it over my heart as well. So this is additional warning that there is, it could be a major release there. So let's clear that energy, clearing southern New Zealand, the South Island. Working directly with the divas there. Divas, please release the energy up through the volcanoes and the fissures. I feel a block in my throat. This is a body signal saying we need to pay particular attention to this in the future. All right, it's relaxing, so we've accomplished what we need to do there for the moment. Now move eastward to South America, scattering of activity to Chile and the Andes Mountains, mid-range activity, which is normal. Lift the excess energy, anything above a 4. All the way up through Peru, into Colombia, and I feel a tightness in my throat. This is a warning signal again that in Colombia there could be some major activity building up. Lift that energy upward till the tightness releases. Very good. Thank you, Divas, for the warning. Now we go further northward. El Salvador, Costa Rica, only minor activity there today. Then eastward to Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, a cluster of small ongoing activity there. All over that island lifted upward. Now we move eastward to the Mediterranean, take our attention northward to Iceland. We have mid-range activity in the volcano there. We lift that out, continue to drain that out. We leave a funnel of energy, continually pulling the energy off of that region. And particularly we want to turn to the huge volcano that is next to it, that is showing signs of coming back into activity. This is the one that caused the ice age, the mini ice age in the 1700s. Clear that monster. It is a major, major threat to the world. Thank you, Divas. And we'll allow that to continue to sustain. Now we move down to the belt. Around the Earth, there's only minor activity. In the regions where there is usually activity, all the way through China and into the mid-ocean to the Hawaiian Islands. That activity under the big island that's scattered all over the island, interestingly enough, is what's causing the magna flow that's occurring now that is causing damage. And as extensive as that movement is, all over the island, it means this could work up into a major eruption to do a lot more damage. So we take our awareness into the major volcanoes there, release from all over the island, release the energy. That's interesting. You feel that, I feel that pressure through my forehead and head. This is a body signal indicating that the island surface itself is like a cap over that hot spot. And that hot spot is increasing in activity. And we want to move that hot spot out into the ocean so it can create a new island under the ocean. It's actively doing that now. Shift the energy that way and take it away from the big island. And feel the response. Thank you, Divas. Now take awareness to our point of beginning and move to the central United States and the fracking that's going on there. It always has about the same intensity of 3-point movement, but I'm more concerned about the Missouri, the New Delhi fault, New Madras fault. Shift any energy potential from that. Now bring your awareness back to the point of beginning and release the earthquake grid. Move our awareness up now into the surface of the earth, and we listen, tune in and feel the energy of the astrological influences and the common consciousness of the planets as they circle around the sun, or the consciousness of our solar system. And we want to tune into the sun now as being the source of all life force of light that sustains everything in the solar system, including the gravity forces that hold us in orbit. Tune into that general consciousness now of the solar system. And our desire is with her to extend our golden shield out around the solar system, including all the power and energy of the sun, drawing energy from the sun to create an even more powerful shield around the solar system, a repulsive shield that reaches toward the dark star as it approaches the dead star, with Nibiru orbiting it. And at its point out in space, we nudge it, repulse it away, negative polarity against negative polarity, repulsing it outward. When it passes through our solar system, it will not be destructive on its 3,600-year orbit. This has been well observed and documented for thousands of years as being the nemesis, wormwood, the destructor. Push it outward. And we can do this with the realization that the people on the planets of Nibiru who were the gods, so-called gods that created humans on Earth, 380,000 years ago. It's not doing them any damage to do this because they have internal light from their sun, from their internal heat from volcanic activity in Nibiru, and they have a shield around the planet that holds their light and heat. And that's why they need the gold from Earth, is to reinforce their golden shield. So extend our hand to them in peace and love, and offering all the gold they need in this next cycle, since we already have an abundant supply and storage. All we ask is that they pass through our system in peace, and ask that they meet us in dominion and not domination. For what they created on Earth was domination, to manage the humans, and we are moving into the state of dominion now where we don't need their managing. We respond to the galactic center. Feel the force of the solar system pushing Nibiru outward, the dark sun, the dead star. Now bring your awareness back into your own system. In your expanded state of consciousness, take your awareness to your forehead and open up to the photon belt, and just feel that energy drop in through your system, stimulating, raising your frequencies, and feel it reacting with the galactic flow through your hands as your heart takes on more energy, more vitality, more life source. And visualize every cell in your body, every gene, every aspect of your DNA youthening, and the telomeres at the end of the genes that pace the longevity of our lives, and those that have already disappeared, and we see the etheric model of those still in place, and we rejuvenate those telomeres so their job is to take the life or the physics energy of everything and transmute it into life, and nurture all living cells, so we stimulate them to regrow, reversing our aging process. And we do this with our intent in the 0 point to heal any malformance in our standing ways of our past, including our DNA, the aging process in our DNA. In our past, we neutralize that. And in the 0 point, we create an ongoing vital life force in our DNA that keeps us young and vital and healthy to this next 1,000 years or as long as we want. So as we move into the fourth dimension, we'll have the 4 life force and vitality to continue to create and manifest the fourth dimension and dominion in general. Again, we pull in the photon energy to stimulate our DNA with the intent of our indwelling souls, directing the galactic flow and the photon energy. We're using the historic memory of our indwelling souls, wakening them up to full self-realization and memory of who we are as we move into the fourth dimension, and of our responsibility to create the fourth dimension in such a manner that there's only exists in peace and harmony. And as we move out into the galaxy, we'll be well received. And whatever the political system is of the galaxy, we will offer only right choice and the highest and most beneficial good to everyone, including those forces out there, negative forces, whose responsibility it is to keep driving civilization and knowledge and awareness forward. And we acknowledge that also. Now bring your awareness back to your own situation. Come back into your own heart center. And feel yourself full and vital and resonating with the photon energy, which is pure light, pure life. See that bright light in your forehead, in your third eye, and let that pour energy down through your entire system. And direct it outward to anyone you know who needs help in their lives. Realizing that your indwelling soul has the power to formulate that light into form, working in cooperation with the galactic flow, and that you can project with pure intent and love dominion, good things, good form to anything or anyone outside of yourself as well as within yourself. Now come back in, take your awareness up to your forehead. Come back into your conscious state. We've got a few minutes that we can communicate here. JC, is there anything you'd like to add to world consciousness today from your side of the world?
Well, it's beautiful here. It's been a very pleasant day, and well, I just want to keep the spirit of independence alive in people here who may have had it kind of pressed down on. I know that's like not planetary consciousness, but the land seems quite happy today.
It does. I didn't look at the astrological, but we can. What is it today?
It's the 1st of November. Pinch punch.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of good influences heading today. Would you agree, Mike?
Mike had to go, I think.
Oh, did he? Well, there's only one square in the whole stack, and there's about 8 of them. So that's good. We moved into Pisces. All right. Any other comments for the day from anyone?
Walk in love, everybody. Walk in love and happiness and joy, and knowing that that is what's going to fulfill your soul utmost.
I was thinking about, you were talking about Nibiru and stuff there, and I'm thinking, the Illuminati claim that they worship black sun. They even have pictures of it. And I was wondering if that had anything to do with, have you ever run across anything like that? It's supposed to exist in the gamma rays or something, so we don't actually see it.
Well, the black sun is a dead sun. It burned out, so there's just all that energy sitting there untapped. And that's what Nibiru and 6 other planets orbit around. And they've kept themselves sustained all this time by the fact that they have a lot of volcanic activity that reflects light off of the cloud layer that covers the entire Earth. And so it's just like living in a greenhouse. And as their atmosphere weakened, that's over 400,000 years ago, that's why they became concerned and started looking around for gold they could ionize and maintain their greenhouse effect. And that's how we came to be here, is because when they came to mine the gold, they needed laborers, and so they injected some of our genes, or their genes, into Homo erectus out on the plains and created the Neanderthal man, and from that further tampering created Homo sapiens, and further tampering Homo sapiens sapien. And so, enough said, here we are. Only we are evolving very rapidly. We're evolving back up into the same level of consciousness intelligence. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to take a lot of generations to do that, because we have the power within ourselves to stimulate ourselves to that growth and in response to need. Any other comments?
In addition to that, you mentioned the word nemesis and wormwood. How did you mean that?
That is the passage of Nibiru when it comes by. That's what was named in Bible passages in the past. And it has caused tremendous destruction on earth in the past, and some say it was responsible for the Great Flood 12,000 years ago in that passage. It doesn't always pass on exactly the same path. Sometimes it's further away. Sometimes passes on the opposite side of the orbit where we are, so it's further away. But by all indications, this one is to be very destructive, according to the prophets of the past and in the Bible, who are looking forward to this passage. And the scientists know it's there. They announced they've discovered it in 1987, and all the astronomers were happily looking at it, and then suddenly silence. It got shut off. So no one is allowed to talk about it who has any scientific knowledge. So we have to do it ourselves, and we have the power to do what's necessary, since the governments can't.
There was a planet-sized explosion by Mars when some comet was going by Mars, and and then it was suppressed right away. Anybody guys heard about that?
Yeah, I heard that's the of a Mars base.
They think somebody was saying
the good guys or the bad guy, whatever. Well, listen, we got to go. We've got a scheduled program coming up in a minute. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, JP. Thank you, JP.
Okay, thanks, JP.